Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me this wonderful evening on the 13th of the 5th, 2023. And that is this Saturday evening with Talk and Sip. And of course, I want to thank you so much for joining those who are on Instagram, those who are on Facebook, those who are going to be on TikTok as well. But most importantly, YouTube is the key person and the key link. So therefore, anyone actually who is on all these different platforms, do join onto YouTube, because on YouTube you'll be able to see some of the key presentations based on our guest tonight. And of course, as it is Talk and Sip is about it's like a diaspora rum bar concept, if one would say. And that is whereby, like sometimes they say in a bar, sometimes you can drink and sometimes you say what you want to say, but it was something which was relaxing and chill, something which we coined and we created during the lockdown period, whereby as people, as friends, we got together and just having these conversation. And I do recall at the time when certain words that were being used and they shut you down. But we continue the process nevertheless still. And always ask you, what are you drinking? And what I'm drinking, I'm not going to drink any Baileys. I'm not going to drink any wine. I'm just going to have water tonight. Just going to have water. Some sparkling water. It got splashed. Because tomorrow morning, as you know, the work goes on. I'm going to be actually I'm going to be having an interview with Mr. Joseph Patterson. Joseph Patterson, who is in London actually. Joseph Patterson is the leader for UIC, that is the United Independent Congress, that is the third political party in Jamaica. I felt it was very important while he's here to have a conversation with him. I believe that it is very important to have a conversation with anyone who is from Jamaica and they land in the UK, to sit down and have an unbiased discussion with them, because I believe that's the best way people can actually learn. Okay, you're having lemon and ginger tea? Oh, okay, I should have actually waited. So AJ Mac, you're having lemon and ginger tea? Even though it's a Stella Artois glass, but I'm not into the beer. I'm not a drinker, as many people know that I do my lots of walking in the morning. You got to make sure that you are not putting unnecessary things in your body. I remember I was talking this morning about consistency, that in the whole aspect of walking and exercise, if you're consistent with that, that's the most important thing. Nothing is wrong, according to a trainer of mine that said, if you're going to have a big lunch or a big meal or even go out for a big drink or so, nothing is wrong in doing that if it is just a one-off. The most important thing is that you're consistent with your different things, consistent with your walking, consistent with your exercise, consistent with your body and soul, as I do as well. And this morning I was blessed because I was able to meet around 7 Jamaican ladies actually in the park from this group called Just Be. And Just Be is powerful. Just Be meaning just be. I like a concept. Just be yourself. And it's always great when I'm walking and I meet different persons in the park, because actually it shows that people are really taking care of themselves and taking care of their body. So I'll be some other time discussing and maybe talking with Just Be. But as I was saying earlier, I'm going to be talking with Mr. Joseph Patterson tomorrow morning. Going to meet him down in Westminster, and who knows, the conversation is going to be around the Republic, Jamaica becoming a republic. And I've been on the forefront having conversations. A few weeks ago, I've had conversation with Professor Rosalie Hamilton. Had conversations as well with the youths as well, and I've been having conversation with different persons, and to make sure that as much as possible that I can through my platform, so people can be educated as to what it is. Uh, Joseph Patterson is a third political party in Jamaica, and it is important that we hear so Jamaicans can make a very informed decision whenever they come around to the point of electing a new leader, or if they want to talk about republic, whether it's going to be a ceremonial president, uh, executive president, and I think elected president as well. So there are different factors there, and on my website, which is um, silburn.co.uk or silburn.com, you'll see that I've created a section on it where people can go and watch some videos of the whole thing. So that's it there. But tonight is interesting because what I'm going to want to talk about is flying to Jamaica for less from the UK. Let me just turn down this music here for a second. Um, Thank you, music. That was really fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about flying to Jamaica for less, you know, and Norse, which is an airline, which my guests will talk about later, uh, is offering some flights to Jamaica at a very low rate. Many people have been complaining a lot that Virgin and BA somehow has monopolized this whole thing. And people, even if they have a bereavement, which of course can come at any time, they're paying thousands as well to go to Jamaica with the standard Virgin and BA, which somehow is not really that helpful at times. So therefore, they're looking for different alternative, different options. Some has used TUI, which has been very good to Caribbean people, but North seemed to be a very interesting one. And tonight I'm going to be having Michael Mason. Michael Mason, we years ago had this whole, you know, community against community in action against exorbitant plane fares to Jamaica. As you can see there, that was my logo there, Facilitators for Better Jamaica, the lobby group. We were lobbying. We were lobbying for Jamaicans to boycott Virgin and BA in order to somehow put pressure on them to somehow reduce the airfare so people from the diaspora, people from the UK can get a good deal and a good flight to Jamaica. I do recall with the late Paul Lawrence and another person, I don't remember who it was. We went and we met with a couple executives of British Airways, it was British Airways, to somehow speak to them about it. And they were saying it wasn't a lucrative route, which I found a bit very interesting at that time. Paul was very adamant. Late Paul was very adamant with that we should boycott, and we went to Birmingham, we went to Bristol, went to meetings in London, and we got a lot of petitions. I think I saw we were doing paper petitions at that time. We had lots of these paper petitions to try to mobilize the Jamaican community into that. Michael Mason was very good with this. Well, what Michael did was Michael taught us some different ways how we could actually uh, create your ticket. You know, mean to say you can actually shop around and look at different ways so you can do your ticket. And Michael was very good at that. I call him the flight guru. Michael is actually an architect and he designed houses in the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, Michael actually has more right to even vote in Jamaica. He built houses for people in Jamaica. He has a house in Jamaica as well. And right now, Michael is actually in the process of getting his citizenship for Jamaica, born in the UK, but of Jamaican parentage as well. And later on as well, around 10:45, I'm going to be joined, all being well, touch wood, with Delana Steve Wright, Ed Bartlett second, who is the senior advisor and strategist in the Ministry of Tourism. Going to talk about the government or what their position is in regards to this new flight. And because Ed Bartlett, the Minister of Tourism, has said that he welcomed the announcement by the low-cost Norwegian airline North Atlantic Airways that it will expand its services to the Caribbean to include Jamaica this winter season. And this service is coming at an opportune time as we seek to diversify the options available in our visitors from the UK, which is our target European market. North should provide flights at a reasonable price point that will certainly encourage more arrival to destinations Jamaica, moving us closer to our target of 5 million annual visitors by 2025, noted Ed Bartlett. So that is a very interesting bit. So it is good that the government is somehow working to try to get a better deal, because I have been, reaching out to Ed Bartlett. I've been reaching out to even Delano, and say, listen, we need a better deal for the UK. We need a good deal. I actually even reached out to a couple of hotels by asking them these package fares, called these package fares with these flights and these accommodation, somehow work out to be some massive fundamental deal. So therefore, it seems like people can actually fly to Jamaica, have a 2 weeks or so at an all-inclusive hotel, have their hotel there, and then go about them business and so like that. I know that's their base, and that would be so crucial as well. Just like how the tourists operate in that respect. Um, Lenny Black, I looked at North, but the ads on work out to be the same. If sometimes more that the two main carriers from the UK to Jamaica. That's very interesting what you say, Lenny Bedford. That's very interesting. And that is why I brought Michael on to sort of break down certain things. Because even though it is said £550 or 595, Michael and I was discussing it, that when you work it out and you add on certain things, which I won't say, it actually adds up, but it still seems to be a bit more reasonable at the same time. So Michael is going to come on and he's going to share some views in regards to that. At the end of the program, I'm going to touch a bit on the Republic and touch a bit on the new appointment of senators that the government has appointed. Dr. Forget her name, and my good friend Ab Fitzenley to be ministers. No, maybe to be ministers. Actually, maybe it jumped out of my mouth. Maybe you want them to be ministers, but I think what he has done as well, I believe it is setting the tone for something. Something is going down, ladies and gentlemen. Something is going down. I believe there is a potential for a reshuffle. Keeping your eyes on Jamaica as much as possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, so my guest tonight first will be Michael Mason. He's a flight guru, architect design houses in the Caribbean, and we're gonna break it down and we're gonna talk about this whole Norse. And people, please feel free to join as much as possible. Share your views, and we catch up on that later. Good evening, Michael. How are you doing?
Good evening. Welcome, everyone.
Good. How are you in hot England, sunny England?
Yes, a little bit of sunshine today, nothing much.
Sunshine today. Okay, that's good. I think based on what I'm seeing, people have also done their research on the airfares and things like that, which you're going to break down a bit. I was reminding myself and to listeners about what we were doing. I can't remember what year it was, Michael, but about 7 years or so. Remember with our campaign?
Yes, against airfares.
Exorbitant airfare. If you break it down and just sort of tell us how you got into this whole. You're an architect, but you're a flight guru at the same time. What really propelled you to sort of get into this whole aspect and educating us a lot in these airfares?
It all started back in 2016 when I went to go and see my granddad's funeral, and then I discovered that various things were not going right with the fares, and then I decided to do some research, and I didn't realize that all the airfares were going up in to Jamaica. And at the time, there were two only competitions, BA and Virgin. And I think BA and Virgin were going to both airports, but there was no alternative competition. And it seems like they had a monopoly on all the airfares. And then it's only when I looked at TUI, another like a charter, that I realized that they were really charging a lot of money for us to travel from London to Jamaica, both airports.
And then that sort of spur you on into trying to find these different alternatives as well, and to really break it down a bit more.
That's it. Yeah, and I looked at alternative like going from Europe, Belgium, Amsterdam, all the various, and they were cheaper. And you wonder why they were cheaper. Why was London more expensive than some of our European neighbours? So it was kind of strange that you could hop on the Eurostar to Brussels, and also you could
Yes.
get a plane which is cheaper. And is it just UK that they're putting the fares up? I'm not sure, but yeah, at the time I did a comparison, and I realised that I'll go to Europe and get to Jamaica at a cheaper price.
Well, Mike, what one of the issues that we had at that time was that while people were looking for the cheaper flights, they were missing that comfort of that one stop, just going to British Airways and going to Virgin and go all the way instead of going all the way to Europe.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah. Well, as I said, what can you do? You want to go direct. You don't really want to go to another country to get home, as they say, get to that little bit of rock, you know. So it was sad, and I think we did a couple of shows up and down the country. I think we went to Bristol. We did one in London and Birmingham. Yes, I think we did 3 shows in total.
Yes.
I remember.
London, Bristol, Birmingham. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the APD, they sort of put some reprieve on the APD, but that didn't really. Did that really help much in a way? So really and truly, really. Would we say it was successful unless just making an awareness? What would you say?
I think it was probably making people aware. But it seems that a lot of people didn't like to go to the trouble of doing research. They want to just go. So I think more people are interested in that they could deposit £50, say like a Sackville Travel, and then pay in time to go over.
Yeah. So this Norse now. Let's talk about this Norse. This new airline. But before that, before there was Norse, there was another one actually, which is not around anymore, wasn't it? It's a bit similar.
Yeah, there was Norwegian. Norwegian was similar.
But this is still Norwegian, isn't it?
It is. Yes. What has happened is now, Norwegian airlines expanded quite big. They were going all over America, but they never touched Jamaica at the time. And the pandemic came in, and they realized that their load factor wasn't as high. They expanded too big, and then after the COVID, they cancelled their long haul. It was a low cost long haul airline, similar to EasyJet. And then what it is now, when they folded or stopped the long haul, they had about 10, 12 vacant planes, Dreamliner 787. So what happened was the new airline Norse leased all those planes and took them over and decided to try it again, the same long haul, originally from Oslo. Then they tried to get a license for America and then from London. But what they've done is that they tried learn from the mistakes of Norwegian by not actually expanding too much. What the problem was is that the winter program was where they lost out quite a lot, and I think over the last couple of weeks, some of their long haul they've actually stopped. I think from Berlin to America, they've cut it because what it is now, the load factor in February were high, and then they decided we need to go to hot destinations for the winter period, and now they've looked at Jamaica. BA is only going to Kingston. There's no competition, and I think they did some research and thought, let's go to Jamaica, Barbados, and I think also they're going to one Far Eastern country also. So they thought this is a monopoly they could actually get their teeth into. But I did observe that I think they're flying up 3 times a week from Montego Bay and 2 times a week from Kingston. But they're competitive. But what it is now, just like BA and Virgin, when you buy your ticket or you see the price, it's a standard price. And people think that's the price for everything. But then you have to go onto their website and then you realize, oh, I need to get luggage. I need to get food. I need to get seat selection. And all these things they're called luxuries, but they're not luxuries, but they're extra money. You have to pay for them. So it's kind of strange that why can't that fare be everything included? Why it has to be extra on top?
Extras.
So yes, that's it. Yeah. So I've actually flown Norse before. Last year, October, I was traveling back from New York back to Gatwick, and I was doing a round trip. I was visiting other family in the rest of America. And then I just saw their website come up. And then I thought, okay, now I'm going to get back to London from New York if I'm doing a round trip. And the price came up which include food and luggage, £200 single fare from New York to London. I compared that to a BA, JetBlue, and one other airline, and it was the cheapest. So I thought £200 one way to America to London. I thought that was cheap. So, and I thought, I wonder whether it's going to be a bad experience. But it was reasonable. Even though it's a night flight, they gave you food, and the seats weren't reasonable. The seats weren't too cramped, and it was a pleasant journey over. So I thought, oh, give it a go again. So when North said they was coming to Jamaica, I said to myself, now I know a lot of people are going to think, oh, don't go with them. Don't go with them because they are like a TUI or a budget or chartered airline. But TUI, BA, and Virgin do the same policy where you pay a standard fare and then you pay extra on top. So at the end of the day, I compared all of the prices, and North is actually the cheapest.
North is actually the cheapest. So let's break it down. Let's break it down because a lot of people are excited about the North and the 550, 585. The minister is also excited about it. But then as someone just came on, Lenny Beckford is saying only 15k holdback for £85 fee, and Lenny Beckford said, I looked at Norse, but the add-on work out to be the same, if sometimes more, than the two main carriers from the UK to Jamaica. What would you say about that? He says they're the same. I mean to say they're almost like the same level as Virgin and BA or even TUI.
Yeah, they're the same. It's the same. But as I said, you have to do a price comparison. So what I've done, I've looked at, say, the first week in November, going out for 2 weeks. I compared all the various different prices, and Norse is actually cheaper. The only thing which Norse is a little bit more expensive is when you add on the extras like seat selection, which I thought was a little bit extra. Should I bring up this thing here that you gave? Yeah. The comparison. So here we are. Everybody could see now. So I'll just say economy fare. There's the basic fare, the fare with luggage, and fare with luggage and say seat selection. With the second column is a meal and a luggage on top. So you see now all of these are the first week in November for 2 weeks out there, and 582 to Montego Bay is actually cheaper than going to Kingston. And then if you had on the meal and the luggage, 726 compared to 833 with TUI and 834 with Virgin. So even the same comparison, you're saving about £100.
So hang on. So TUI seems to be cheaper, based on what we're looking at.
Actually, TUI is slightly a little bit cheaper than Virgin. And when you go onto their website, you get a standard price, but then you have to pay for luggage and seat selection, which is a little bit extra. So as you said now, if you look at the 10-15, that's where Norse is a bit more expensive. So really, TUI overall would be the cheapest if you're looking for a meal, luggage, and a seat.
But let's break down this whole seat selection. What is seat
Yeah.
selection? And I know, because that seems to be what I can see as made up for Norse to be more expensive.
Yes,
Seat
that's
selection.
strange. Yeah, I don't know why that's more expensive. So really, that model, that third column, I wouldn't go for that. I would just go for the first or the second. Probably the second column is probably the most economical and most what everybody want. They want a meal and they want a luggage as part of the package. Seat selection is, I call it, it's a premium, it's an extra. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
if it's up to you if you want to pay extra for the seat. So as you said, TUI would be a little bit cheaper.
That is in the economy line. That would be in the
Yes, in the
economy
economy
line
line.
there.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and
Yeah.
that is just because
And
you're
then
booking a specific seat that you really want.
yes, that's it. Yeah. And then for Gatwick, the last two, 4 and 5, yeah, BA are more expensive when you want a luggage on top. And they didn't have a selection for seat. They didn't have a on their website. There's nowhere where you could select the seat on their website. I think you
Mm.
may be able to when you check in, you might be able to pay for it, but there was nothing on their website, so I could put a comparison compared to North.
But what I've done, I've bring in the other slide there, which has the
Yeah,
premium.
yeah,
Is that correct,
yeah. There was a
Les? Yeah.
first. Yeah, there was a first slide. There was a first slide.
The that's wrong. Is that correct? Incorrect there.
Yeah, yeah. There's another slide I sent you, which is just premium.
Just premium only.
Yeah,
Okay. I
premium
think this.
only. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they're the
Yeah.
prices there. Um, so
So for premium with
so
Norse, go on, Michael, go on. Yeah.
yeah, for premium, North is slightly almost comparison, not far from TUI and North are the same for premium with 2 meals and a luggage. And then Virgin ups it, and also um, on the website, BA didn't have an option on their website. I don't know why, but I know that BA do premium economy, but I assume that it would be probably similar to Virgin in price. But it seems that traveling to Kingston is a little bit more expensive than traveling to Montego Bay. I wonder why that is.
Is it because most of the people going to Kingston is like business or so?
Probably, yeah, probably. I don't know. That would be something interesting to find, unless there's more taxes to land at Kingston, the capital, than Montego Bay, which is a bit strange.
Because
'Cause
Michael, when they sold off, I think somebody kept one of the lines. I mean, the space they call it, these air spaces. Is that what they call it?
yeah,
Yeah. When Air Jamaica stopped flying,
yeah, yeah.
I believe the slot. It is a slot. That's what they call it. The slot was
Oh, I
sold
see.
over.
So it's more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, in light of this, then, are we seeing? Is it the advantage of Norse? Is that it is regular, more regular? Is that the advantage
Yes.
of Norse?
Yes. 3 times a week to Montego Bay and 2 to Kingston. It's a brand new Dreamliner plane, similar to Virgin and also TUI. They TUI and Virgin and North fly the same plane, which has a better air pressure than BA, which flies the older 777. So you
Yeah.
get a better experience. You got controlled finger controlled window seat, so you could actually dim it. It's just a brand newer plane. But the 777 by Boeing, by BA, is similar. It's a wide body plane, and the flights now are roughly about 9.5 hours flying over. The only other thing is that Virgin now have decided to stop off in Nassau en route for the majority of their flights over to Montego Bay. So you're going to be an additional hour en route, and they fly later in the day now. Then there's only TUI fly early. TUI fly roughly 10 o'clock, and then the rest of them fly midday over to Jamaica.
Right. So therefore, what should we say that this is good news?
I would say it's a good news. It's competition.
One second there, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining. And unfortunately, the Instagram is going to actually be shut down. The battery is actually good. If you can go to the YouTube, because there's a presentation which is going on the YouTube where you can actually see. You just see my face, but there's Michael there on YouTube, and Delano Seavewright. My apologies, Delano Franklin. God rest his soul, he's passed away. But Delano Seavewright will be joining from the Ministry of Tourism. So the YouTube is going to be shut down. Hi, Emeka. Sorry, the Instagram is going to be shut down. The TikTok will remain, but the Instagram is going to be shut down. If you go onto the YouTube, and that will make it much better. Yes, Michael. Hi, ID. Yeah. You're saying, Michael. I said good news. Is it good news?
Yes, I would say it's good news. Competition and more choice, which is better. So, as I said, probably the first week it will be good to get reviews from people traveling to see how they experience it, and then hopefully good news, and then people got a choice when they want to go over to Jamaica for the holiday, the Christmas period. They've got a choice now. That's Norse or BA to get to Kingston, and I think that's good. That's good because BA's got everything.
Well, I'm gonna bring in Delano Seavewright. Well, he's gonna say it's good news. Hi, Delano. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, Silburn. Hi, Michael. Good afternoon in Jamaica. And Silburn, I'm actually at my son's birthday party, so I told him.
Your son cut you off. Did your son cut you off a while ago? I can't hear you. I think your son cut you off a while ago, Delano. No sound. I think your son wasn't happy and he cut you off. Your sound went, Delano. He's not
right now.
Ah, yes. Your son cut you off a second ago.
No, they're fine. They're at the pool having fun. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh. But anyway, I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got Mr. Delano Seavewright, Senior Advisor and Strategist in the Ministry of Tourism. I think the last time you guys were in London, I think we found you at some hotel with you and Ed Bartlett and do a quick interview.
Yes. Yes.
Finally, late in the night.
Yes.
And the other time was
having so many meetings and suffering from jet lag.
Yes. So we were just talking about the Norse, and there was that clip which you did on the radio already, which is going around. Tell us about Norse and with your strategists.
Because
I spoke to you.
Yes.
With concerns that we're having some real issues here with these high plane fares, and
you did.
Yeah,
and Sil, I'm really appreciative that you reminded us of that, and you have been on that issue, I know, for many years. The issues, of course, with the air passenger duties and so on, and discussions on some of the tax issues between the Caribbean and the UK, and just the sheer cost and the sheer expense of traveling to the Caribbean and back to the UK, compared to traveling to New York or Boston and so on, and you realize the huge differential in fares. So in line with what you had said many years ago, Silver, we did note, and our travel agents or tour operators, all our partners highlighted to us that there is a challenge with the cost of airfare to and from Jamaica with the UK. And we also do know that the Jamaican diaspora in the UK has complained many times about the price and the cost of the tickets. And of course, it's a function of demand and supply. And what we had certainly for Kingston, we had only we have only 3 flights per week between the UK and Jamaica. And of course, when it gets busy in the winter, they'll push it up to, for Christmas, they'll push it to 4. And that's British Airways that does that service into Kingston. Into Montego Bay, we have Virgin Atlantic that does a daily service into Montego Bay now from London Heathrow, which is great. And a couple of those services stop in Nassau on their way to Montego Bay. And then, of course, we have the charters, which is TUI, which is for folks, tourists who book their vacations straight up tour operator route. And TUI accounts for roughly 65-70% of the traffic between the UK and Jamaica. And that's primarily UK tourists who are visiting Jamaica, to have their 2-week vacations. So we have been on the hunt to get either Virgin or British Airways to up the services, increase the number of flights into Jamaica, or get another carrier. And we were lucky. North Atlantic, fairly similar to Norwegian. They sort of came around at the pandemic, February 2021. And they started to very carefully, because as you know, Norwegian with the long haul routes, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course issues with the 787 Dreamliners and stuff like that, they really got battered. And North Atlantic is now here, and we said we cannot lose out on this opportunity. And North, of course, ran the numbers, and it was a slam dunk for North Atlantic. And North Atlantic says we're going to do a daily flight into Jamaica, 4 into Montego Bay per week, 3 into Kingston per week. And that's what we're going to run with our 787 Dreamliner, which is about 300 seats. So we were happy to hear that because the UK, as you know, Silver, I don't know if you know, we broke the record last year. Jamaica is now the #1 location in the Caribbean for UK visitors. We beat Barbados, which is Little England, with over 225,000 tourists from the UK last year alone. And they saw those numbers. And we also highlighted to them that for last year alone, all the tour operators out of the UK are complaining to us that we need more hotel rooms in Jamaica, we need more Airbnbs, because the demand in 2022 is 15% to 40% ahead of 2019, which is the last year before the pandemic. So the numbers are ridiculous coming out of the UK.
So what you're actually saying is that what had sort of created a dip in the previous one was the pandemic, which has really affected. So therefore, if it wasn't for the pandemic, it would have been a good sailing. But Michael was sort of breaking down some sort of figures earlier. And what we're looking at was, even though the flights were what should I say, cheap in a sense, $550 or $580, but by the time we added on the meals and the bits and pieces, it goes up still,
Yes, it does. And you know what? It's the standard low cost carrier. Michael, Ryanair and all these guys have perfected the art of. I mean, and I have friends in New York who flew on North Atlantic from New York to Oslo in Norway, and they just went with their backpack, and I literally could not understand how they could fly from New York to Norway and spend a week in Norway and Sweden and these places with one bag. I genuinely, so
you understand why?
I do not know how they do it, but I can't do it, and none of us can. It's not in our nature as Caribbean people, and you can't tell our ladies to carry one backpack on a flight, because they say, "Oh, that I only spent 300 euros from New York, and all I had was my backpack, and I bought a meal on the flight, and I'm good." I said, "Listen, we don't operate like that." But
maybe
it's a start sale. It's a start sale. It's a start, Michael, because we need the competition. We need the competition on the UK route.
That's a key word which you mentioned, that the competition will somehow, because I remember with Virgin and B at the time, one goes to Kingston, one goes to Montego Bay. So therefore, them corner it in a way like. But now TUI is coming in, and Norris is coming in to mash up the Dolly House. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Well, Norris is aggressive. Still.
It's
And
aggressive.
still, don't forget, British Airways was started back Montego Bay, I think, just prior to the pandemic or just after, And then, they had some challenges.
They caught it.
Yes, and anyway, I'm in government, so I can't say. What I do know is that competition is healthy. It's a Jamaican way, it's a UK way, it's a free market way, and we are very encouraging of all carriers to fly into Jamaica. We've been aggressive on Europe. We're now getting Edelweiss out of Zurich. People don't even know that we have one flight per week now out of Zurich, Switzerland into Montego Bay, and it's doing relatively well. And we continue to get flights out of Brussels and Amsterdam and Frankfurt. And we're trying to build out. We're trying to get something out of Paris. It's going to take some time, but we're going to figure it out. But we want the competition. The competition is important. So.
Michael, I want to ask Delano a question, but Michael, anything you wanted to ask Delano while he's here before he dashes back to his son?
No, I think what you said is true, is that competition is necessary, especially in BA, in Kingston. High prices. And what I've noticed, Kingston's more expensive than Montego Bay. Why is that?
Yes. Well, you know why. So Montego Bay, as you know, has 7 flights per week with Virgin Atlantic and at least 14 flights per week with TUI. So you're talking, yes. So TUI has about 10 to 14 flights a week into Montego Bay. And of course, Virgin has 7 flights per week going in there. So the competition is stiffer into Montego Bay. The only option for Kingston is a non-stop. Not in terms of a non-stop, is British Airways. And from a competitive point of view, therein goes the issue. So they get what they want. So, and they know, I mean, Jamaicans want to come home for Christmas. They want to come home.
Yes.
They're going to buy the tickets. They're going to buy the tickets.
Yeah.
If it's £2,000, they're paying it.
I think I overheard my mother and my sister talking yesterday in a message, which they made me hear, to say, him say, "Ma come home Christmas, didn't he?" That was me they're talking about. But listen, Delano, one of the things about you and Ed Bartlett, though, is like you guys are on a different plane. When I say different plane, you guys are just soaring in the sense of the excitement in regards to tourism for Jamaica.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm sure you guys are doing it, because sometimes in the diaspora we'll say that the sort of interest or package for Jamaicans are not so as for visitors, for other persons, and it's like Jamaicans would like some sort of package deals or some interest for them specifically as well.
Yes.
Returning residents rather.
Yes. No, we're aware of that. And so one of the biggest, Kingston is absolutely important. We have been placing very special emphasis on building out Kingston as a prominent tourism destination.
Yes.
And what we're finding now in Kingston, the Airbnbs, and you talk to Airbnb now, because we're in touch with Airbnb on a weekly basis, because the growth of Airbnb in Jamaica to them, according to Airbnb statisticians, is out of range with the rest of the Caribbean. Because Jamaica is such a diverse country. You have city, Kingston, Montego Bay, you have country, you have half country, you have beach, you have mountains, you have arid areas, you have Treasure Beach, which is a whole completely new and varied community compared to, say, Negril or Ocho Rios or Runaway Bay or Port Antonio. Then we have St. Thomas. And then what we're finding now is that we're seeing an increasing number of Europeans and Americans in the Airbnbs. So now the Airbnbs are now over a quarter of Jamaica's accommodation sector. This is unprecedented. Everybody will know when they come to Jamaica, it's about going to the hotel and spending time. Now Airbnb is 26 to 29% of the market. So people and tourists are everywhere now.
And Ziggy Marley has got his different places as well he can go to.
Yeah, but even Trenchtown has one of the highest concentrations of Airbnb in Kingston City. And you and I know a lot of Jamaicans and a lot of Kingstonians will not stay a day in Trenchtown.
Yes.
It is what it is. But we see Swedish and French and German visitors staying in Trenchtown for their vacations.
So what you're doing actually is capitalizing on the reggae culture, capitalizing on Jamaica.
Correct.
And going into these different areas and leaving just the all-inclusive.
Correct. And then in addition to that, there is a new market out of the UK. These children, the children of the Jamaicans that went to the UK in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, they are fully grown now, and they are now having children. And they have a sort of affinity to Jamaica. And I'm telling you, we see it in our stats, we see it in the numbers coming out of the UK. These Jamaicans who are the children of the Windrush generation or the grandchildren of the Windrush generation, who are working in London and Birmingham and Manchester and Liverpool and Cardiff, and they have an extra money in their pocket, shilling, as we say in Jamaica, and I'm sure they have a couple extra quid. They want to travel to Jamaica because there's a vibe about Jamaica. And Kingston, we're finding, is an attractive option for them because it's a city, it has a diversity of culture, it has different options. And what we're also seeing is also a demographic shift, Silburn. I think you need to have a discussion about this, Silburn. We're finding that a lot of the returning residents now, back in the day, they used to buy these big houses or build a big house. Now they want a 2-bedroom apartment.
There's a ship house. There's a big ship house in Jamaica. Michael has made some houses. Michael is an architect there. He knows how to do.
These are amazing.
Some houses. Yes. And also I got my house in Falmouth. Also, I got my house is in Falmouth. Got my 2-bed house in Falmouth.
You see, Delano?
Yes.
Michael is born in the UK.
Yes.
Michael has his house in Jamaica. Michael traveled to Jamaica regular. Michael is a guru on these airfares thing.
Yes.
Michael built houses for Jamaica. He's a man that should be able to vote in Jamaica, not even me. I don't even want to touch that one.
I'll have to call I have to get some advice from my leadership whether I can comment on that right now. Michael to register in Jamaica.
But go back to the point.
So people are now buying apartments and condominiums in Kingston and along the North Coast because it's more convenient. It's easier to maintain. They're in a gated community. There's security. There's all the social services. So it is costly, but at the same time, in the long run, it's working out better. And I'm finding that to be now there's a huge demand, and this is in part explains the housing boom that's happening in Jamaica right now. Michael, in Kingston there are apartments being constructed all over Kingston. The highest building in Kingston is currently under construction, just around from where I am sitting right now. And all the condos have been sold out, and it's not done yet. And about 40%, 50% of that money is coming from outside the country. And again, it's that generation in the UK and the US and Canada who says, you know what, I want a piece of my country, but I want something that's convenient. So they get an apartment, they get to a nice community. It's easier to maintain, easier to hold together than having a 10-bedroom mansion.
Which you can't climb the stairs. You can't climb the stairs when
Yes, and you're in your 70s and 80s, you can't climb the stairs. It becomes impractical.
Yeah.
So we want to get more of those, Jamaican Britons coming to Jamaica. And we realize that we need more competition in the airspace situation because that's the only way to really start putting pressure on the prices. And we've seen it happening in other destinations.
Yeah. Jacqueline Affleck put a question there. What about Portland?
Yes. Oh God. I mean, Portland is expensive. If you want to live on the coast in Portland, it's expensive. The good thing about Portland now, Silly and Mike, the highway is currently a new highway is currently under construction from Kingston heading into St. Thomas, lapping back around to Port Antonio, right? And that is roughly, it's going to change the game in terms of transportation. So if you will be from the Kingston, if you land in Kingston and you're heading out to St. Thomas, you're going to be in St. Thomas in 30 minutes or less because of that highway, which is going to be completed by 2026, 2027 at most. And you can go around to Portland in under an hour. It's a game changer. So we're encouraging people, especially those in the UK and elsewhere, you need to come into Jamaica now, because what I am a little concerned about is that I'm seeing investors from as far as Israel, China, Western Europe, Australia, who are coming around looking for properties to purchase because they see the future. they know that the property they buy today in Jamaica is going to be 8 times the price in 8 years from now, and they're coming in now.
Is there any? I mean, this may be a different. Is there any sort of what should I say? In the UK, we say listing building, like any sort of security to ensure that somebody can't just come from Timbuktu and buy up so much of Jamaica. Is there like a restriction, like 1 or 2 property or so? Or they, if they got the money, they just come in and just buy it?
Well, you know what? And the truth is, those are things that I'm sure, from a policy point of view, we may need to look at. I don't think we're there yet. I have seen where other countries have sought to do that. I've seen where Canada, I'm sure you've seen where Canada has sought to restrict, where possible, the inflows of money coming in from China and other spaces, because it's causing a problem in their real estate markets, where the young people in Canada who have gone to college and they have done everything right and they can't afford to live in Toronto. It's a challenge. We're not there yet. What we have now is that a lot of Jamaicans are stubborn and just don't want to sell. And you know, that's helpful for now. But certainly as the demand continues to increase, I think, yes, it's something we'll have to look at, because we're now seeing prices on the North Coast for an acre going way beyond $1 million US now. That was never the case up to 5-7 years ago. It's the case now. It's going, because there will not be any more coastline. There will not be any more, you know, quote unquote islands per se. It is what it is. What you have is Jamaica, and Jamaica will remain the same size for the next 100 years, right? So if you could get anything close to the coastline, you need to grab it, and grab it now. If you're a mile or 2 miles from the coastline, that's where you need to be, because the demand will continue to increase. It will not stop.
Well, I spread my wings in Otrius then. As a
I'm telling you, and the investors tell us, they tell, you know, Mike and Sil, the investors look at us. I mean, we were in Dubai last week, Silborn. By the way, all of you British people live in Dubai, man. I mean, what's going on? I mean, everywhere I turn is another Englishman.
And teachers as well. Other teachers over there as well.
And Jamaicans who live in the UK have now migrated to Dubai. It's very interesting. But anyway, what the point is, they all see the potential. They see an island with just under 3 million people, English speaking, an hour and 20 minutes from Miami, an hour and 20 minutes from the largest market in the world. US and Canada combined is 380 million people, basically. I mean, that's significant. And we still have not made any big impact.
Is this one of the reasons why the Prime Minister is actually talking some terms like AI, talking about changing over certain things, is like recognizing that Jamaica is actually moving and the interest to Jamaica is of a certain level. He's trying to ensure that it is modernized to a high level. Yes.
So he's very big on digitization and building out a digital economy. And he intends to make some very significant announcements, Silver. And you know, there's some restructuring currently happening in our government, which I'm sure you have been reading and following. And a big part of that.
Minister of Information. Sorry, I'm just.
Sorry. A big part of that is the digitization initiatives, because he's absolutely gung-ho on it, and he believes it needs to be done. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Delreen has picked up the point which I mentioned. It's vital that restrictions are put in place to limit access to property for foreign nationals who are not part of a diaspora. Because, Michael, if I'm not mistaken, the UK is actually doing something like that for overseas persons, isn't it, in the city?
Well, the UK late.
Enough people buy up the place and things like that.
You can't live in London anymore. I know rich people who say I can't live in London. I can't afford to live in London. I've never seen anything like it.
The bit I just want to talk with before we go is, you know, Jamaicans all want to be a part of this whole tourism trade. I grew up on tourism. My father was a taxi man when he passed away. My mother was a housekeeper with Plantation Inn. I don't remember those places there.
Wow.
So I grew up on tourists.
Luxury.
Tourist was is what, you know. The average, a lot of Jamaicans are wanting to tap into this bit as well. I sense with the whole thrust that is happening, lots of people will be bringing into the fold as well. Jamaicans back home to capitalize on it. Yeah.
Yes. So let me segment it. Clearly, the big all-inclusives. These are the 1,000 plus rooms hotels. And I'll come back and discuss that with you because that's booming again. We have the largest hotel is currently under construction in Hanover, just outside Lucy. It's going to be the Princess Resort and Casino, 2,000 rooms. The first 1,000 rooms of that property will be open early next year for winter 2024. And the next 1,000 after that will be open, hopefully, year-end 2024. So that's 2,000 plus rooms for one hotel. And these hotels that are going in excess of 1,000 rooms primarily are foreign companies, Spanish companies, Mexican interested companies, etc., and U.S. companies. What we are seeing now, and of course you have Sandals, which is Jamaican-owned, Adam Stewart, the family, and you have Couples, Jamaican-owned, Lee Issa and that family, fine. What we're seeing is that a lot of Jamaicans are coming in the villa space, which is big money. And there's a villa boom happening as we speak from Ocho Rios, St. Mary, Ocho Rios, running straight through back around to Westmoreland, Bluefields, right down into Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, which, by the way, Silver, next time you come, you need to go to Treasure Beach. It is game-changing what is happening now. There are all these Mediterranean-style villas along the coastline popping up, and the prices have just gone completely out of whack. The Jamaicans are investing in the villa business because the money there is phenomenal. So I know people who have built villas. It's a lot of money, yes, but they build it and they're collecting 20, 30,000 US dollars a week, right? In just the rates that they charge nightly. And then the other space we see Jamaicans going in is also the small hotel space continues to be very lucrative because it's boutique and you can get into that. But the big thing for tourism is not just the hotels and the villas, it's who's supplying the villas and the hotels. Are you supplying them water? Are you supplying them juices? Who's supplying them the beer, the liquor, the food, the chicken, the curry goat, the oxtail? And that's where a lot of Jamaicans have tapped into to supply the sector. And a lot of them cannot meet the demand, so we still have to be importing sometimes. And that's a challenge. One major hotel group, I can't call the name, keeps calling us and complaining that they cannot get enough oxtail. We cannot get enough oxtail.
That's understandable because everybody loves oxtail.
And the tourists are just fascinated with the oxtail. So I want to encourage Jamaicans, when you think tourism, think about the supplying the tourism sector because we have 15 to 20,000 new rooms that are going to be built over the next 5 to 8 years. Somebody needs to supply those people. The amount of eggs that a hotel consumes, the amount of lettuce and melon and grapes that they consume, Silbert, is unbelievable. Imagine a 1,000 room hotel, when it's full, have nearly 2,000 guests on property.
Wow.
And all those 2,000 guests are having breakfast in the morning. Imagine the amount of egg and bread and peas.
You know, my regrets all the while. My regret is always this. When I go to Jamaica and I go to all-inclusive with the family, and then we leave the food, and then we have to fly back. I'm going to say, I think about the food where we left, we couldn't eat up. All inclusive. It's not a feeling, you know what I mean? Because you wish you had ate some more.
It is delicious. And I'm happy. Yes, go ahead.
But the point that I'm going to let you go, but the point that you bring up is so crucial and fundamental, that the supply to the hotels. And therefore, and this is something I've always said all the while, that it's like, I know there's pretty larceny and all those sort of things, but there's supposed to be this massive push. And I believe, is it Colonel Charles? Is he agriculture guy? Yeah.
He's a minister of agriculture.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this massive push to get people into agriculture.
Yes.
And even to get them into some lands where it is secured.
Yes.
Because many people get frustrated when, you raise your stuff and somebody come and thief it like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. In order to boost that. So I'm sure that you guys are thinking in that respect there.
Yeah, it's a huge appraisal larceny issue is still a big problem, Silburn. It has overwhelmed the police in some parts of the country because it's so significant. We've seen where in some of the rural areas, the residents are fighting back and they're taking matters into their own hand, which is something we don't encourage at all. Appraisal larceny issue is a big issue. One of the things that I find very clever too is that the business people in Jamaica who position themselves as a middleman. So some of the most successful suppliers to the hotels don't plant one lettuce, don't plant one melon, don't plant one ackee tree. What they do is just drive around the island. They set up relationships with the small farmers and say, listen, I need this amount of banana from you and I need this amount of melon from you. And then they on-sell to the hotels. Very clever. And one of the most successful businesses in the country, which is a very low-key business, family-run, Jamaicans, that's how they became multimillionaires, because they sat down and strategically thought it through. Now, so some people can farm because they're good at it and they know to run a farm. You and I, Silver, can't run the farm. Mikey would have time for run the farm. I'd have time to run down people and check about them every minute of every day.
Yeah.
But I think we can be the middleman who say, okay, I'm going to buy your produce at this set price. I need to ensure you work with me with the price. And then I know work my contracts with the hotels and the villas. And that's what's happening.
And therefore, that middleman must also have his produce and getting the stuff from those guys, and therefore start to build that. So that's really powerful. There's Richard Davis here. I just mentioned that as a part of the Manchester Windrush 75th anniversary celebrations, we are organizing a community economic tourism expo on the 17th of June, 2023, to attract young people in the UK diaspora communities to visit Jamaica and other Caribbean islands more frequent. We are hoping to have the Jamaica Tourist Board attend and participate. I think he pulled that one on you, you know. I don't know if you know about it.
That's fine. No, and I'm sure. Okay, well, Silver, if you could send me a message, I will ensure our Jamaica Tourist Board team in the UK is on top of that, and they usually are. So just send me a note on it, and I'll ensure that there's some level of participation and coordination. This is very organized. All right.
Yeah.
This is no joke.
That's Richard there, and community economic tourism. That's his flyer there. I'll ping that to you as well. And of course, before I let you go, as usual, Ed always, Minister Bartlett always send me updating information, and but something which I picked up on here, and is about the economic aspect, where Jamaicans can see ways how they can create wealth, and just like what you talk about, even with the tourism bit there. And the middleman just ensuring that the produce goes to the hotel, and ensuring that farmer, I think it's just like Blue Mountain, isn't it? Lots of Blue Mountain farmers there. But
and no one the middlemen, I want to know, the middlemen have the biggest headaches to it.
So Michael, we might have to go down, and be a part of it,
Let me tell you, it is important because it's really. I also sit on the board of Jampro Silburn, which is our trade and investment agency. We have Israeli and other investors who want to come to Jamaica to do exactly that. Jamaicans in the UK and elsewhere can do that business, and they can do it well.
So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most important bit here. We have Delano Steve right here, Senior Advisor and Strategist, Minister of Tourism. I call you the right-hand man to Edmund Bartlett. What he's actually saying, there's opportunities down there. Because many times Jamaicans are actually saying, we don't know. Their money buy out the place. So therefore, now you know. And I'll make sure that I tag you guys, whether I can go straight to the, I'm not going to call you a horse, but the horse's mouth, figure of speech. I'm trying to say.
It's there.
And get these information as much as possible, Delano. So listen, any last word you have to say, Delano, before you
go? We certainly would love to join you again, because there's so much happening in the Jamaican economy. I know sometimes, we hear a lot of the negatives, and we do have our problems in the country. We have a problem with crime and violence. We have a problem with, inequality and issues like that, healthcare issues. But I'm telling you, it's getting better. But we really need the support of the diaspora to be more prominent in the development of our country. I'm telling you, I know, Jamaica's a funny place, You have people who are doing extremely well in Jamaica, who are Jamaicans. They're buying up flats in London for £4 or £5 million, and they made their money in Jamaica legitimately. But they don't talk, and they don't walk around and boast about it. It's their choice. The fact is, there are opportunities in this country that are beyond belief. And certainly the construction space, we have seen where the younger folks and folks in the diaspora are contributing to that construction boom that we currently have going on in Kingston and other parts of the island. Opportunities are here. Just have common sense. Don't be stupid. I mean, I've seen some people come here that start business with people that don't have no contracts in place, Silburn. They have no legal advice, and then when they get shafted, they come to us complaining that this happened to me. I said, no, but in the UK, if you go in business with somebody, you're going to have some contractual arrangements in place. You can't live like that. Those days are over. So
And
we
then,
want to
and
encourage people, man.
then speak negative of Jamaica as much as possible as well at the same
And be
time.
professional. Be professional. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised at how many professionals are enjoying. There are a lot of professionals here.
I
Good
tell you,
lawyers who will not rob you you know, they're good people. Just stop with the friend and company business. This is one of the things I really want to say.
yes,
And I think when the new High Commissioner comes to Silburn, that would be a big point of discussion with you.
I got my sources, and my sources are not disclosing it, but I guess you might send me a message later. what a tight lip! But I know a lot of restructuring going on. But as usual, once High Commission comes, I just like what I did with Aluna Samba and Ramakan, I sit down and have an interview with them, how it's before they start, and then do an exit interview with them at the end as well. Because what I try to do as much as possible is to try to be unbiased as much as possible. And because I want you on the platform, I want PNP on the platform, I want every different aspect on the platform.
It's important.
It's very important. So I want to thank you so much, and thanks for Ed Bartlett for releasing it. I know you couldn't just come and do it just like that.
and he sends his regards. As you know, he was in Barbados for the Caribbean Hotel and Tourist Association conference.
But
pretty much like that.
I don't know if I want to show off, even not for that. And Nicole is my good friend, and Nicole Madden Greg. You know that every time, you know that she and Jackie and I come every time I go to Jamaica all the while. Nicola always find me a room. Because I always go to Kingston at some point. I go to my base in Ocherius, which is where my family is. But then I always go spend 2 days in Kingston to have meetings or so. And Nicola always sought out something for me at where was she? Knutsford Court. She was dealing with a few hotels there.
She's Courtly Group of hotels.
Courtly Group. Yeah.
So Nicola, Courtly, all of them.
Nicola always sought me because she's now the director or something of tourism.
She's the director of sales. She pretty much runs.
So I keep the link, you know what I mean? And I think it's and I always say to people all the while, it's very important that you keep those links. And I tell you, I've got, and Michael would have as well, but I've got my guys on the ground, guys that I went to school with as much as possible. So, and that is why I'm no more. I listen to the radio, but I more listen to the guys on the ground.
And Silburn and Michael, the Airbnbs, let me tell you. And this is what I tell you, you don't even have to have that much money. You don't need money. Some of the most rustic properties in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland are Airbnbs now. They don't have to be luxury. And for whatever reason, there are a lot of tourists who don't want to be in a luxury, but they want a nice, normal-looking Jamaican home to just lie down in, and they will spend $100 a night or £100 a night, and they're fine.
Hold on. Darlene is saying... Go on, Michael. So you're saying, Michael?
Yeah, well, people are asking what about my house. Why don't I rent it out on Airbnb? So I'm looking into that probably next year, later this year. So I'm just waiting for the estate to be completed, and then that's what I'm going to do. And then,
Michael, you're on point because the demand is insane. Personally, I thought it was getting out of control myself up to early last year. I said, this is ridiculous. Too many people are doing Airbnb. But when Carnival in Kingston happened a couple of weeks ago, and almost every Airbnb is booked out, I said to myself, unbelievable. So the demand is insatiable because Jamaica is an attractive destination. I mean, it's unbelievable. And people want rustic, real experiences. That there's a big shift to authenticity. They want to be in a community with the Jamaican people. They want to jam with the Jamaican people. They want to vibe with the Jamaican people. It presents problems for us, honestly, in tourism.
I want you to do me a favor and take up your phone and call Mr. Winter from Picker, saying that Jamaicans over here unhappy still about their passport. There's a lady said she wants.
Yes, I see that.
Well, she said, I'm coming. Once my passport and citizenship fiasco is resolved.
Yes.
So I'm telling you. So I'm being a sort of buffer in a way, like, but people are saying they need to get that sort. So give me a quick call to say, listen.
Yes.
Jamaica, listen, Virgin. Listen, I'm not a Virgin because I'm breaking it down.
Yes.
A lot of Jamaicans went to that thing in October, and I know a lot of them were saying they plan to go down to Jamaica, talk about Airbnb. Some of them even said they want to get their TRN. That is why you had, what's her name, Nordia was there.
Yes.
They want to get their TRN in place so they can do some business down there.
Yes.
That's what some of them were saying to me, and it messed up their flow. So don't worry. They are passionate still, but just get us to get that passport bit and those bits resolved. Because Michael also have issues as well.
Really?
Yes, true.
He
Yeah,
want
I
to get
got
his
mine.
citizenship.
I'm still waiting.
Listen, man, the man is more Jamaican than even I am, and he want to get his citizenship from October. All right,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yes, still waiting.
Yes.
Yes, still waiting, man. Still waiting.
Yeah, you know, we do know there are issues there, and I think Winter, the head of the passport office, he does these tours.
Yes.
Silver, and I don't know when last had been to the UK, probably recently. I don't know.
No, yeah, he was in October. That's his October
Good.
one. That we're talking
October
about.
event, yeah. So
Yeah.
there are issues there, and the truth is, the UK in particular tends to have more special problems. We
Yeah,
find.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know the history, Silver, and you know
Yeah.
it. I mean, like people in the UK with no papers.
Well. Even, somebody gave me an example whereby they want their grandmother is 80 something, and they need approval for somebody who is 10 years over, and that must be the queen, and the queen gone. So, but anyway, just have a courtesy call just to say that
Yes.
Jamaicans in the diaspora are really feeling it, and they want to get that involved.
I just
A
sent
lot
a
of-
WhatsApp actually. So
Yeah, a lot of them want to
Yes.
do business. A lot of them want to do
Yes.
business in Jamaica. Delano.
that's great. And please, I will encourage Jamaicans to please utilize legitimate channels
Yes.
when you're doing business. Stop with this friend and company thing. No,
Mm.
you must go online. You have a Jumper, which is Jamaica Trade and Investment Agency. Go online and read and understand. Don't just
Yeah.
rely on the opinions of friend and company. Be smart, you know?
Well, thank you so much. That was really helpful, and
Thank you.
for your time, and thank you to your son for allowing you,
Yes.
and thank you for not cutting you off.
Great.
I'm cut off.
Listen, he doesn't even care. He's gone about it. They're having fun.
All right. Thank
I
you.
hope to see you on the flight from the UK.
Yes.
Yes,
North
yes,
Atlantic.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think you
Definitely,
should
yeah.
actually. Yeah, so I think that needs to be arranged. All right.
Yes. All right,
Good.
Delano. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Sir Sale.
Okay,
Good.
right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was great that we had Delano Seavright, senior advisor and strategist in the Ministry of Tourism. Michael, what do you talk about? What's your thoughts about that discussion there? That we
Yeah, it
just
was
had
quite
a while ago?
positive. It was positive when he was talking about the middleman and also Airbnb. I note that even in Falmouth, I was there in March, and I was passing through round the back of the Knutsford Express coach depot in Falmouth, and I went round the back to look at a couple of the hotels, and discovered that they're building a brand new Rio in Falmouth.
Yeah.
And I thought that's an opportunity. Now I've got my house, my 2-bedroom house. I could probably link up with the hotel. Say that a new staff is coming there and they need accommodation. Then I just lend it to them. And it was true when he said about the contract. I must put a contract in place. I don't want nobody to come into my place without some proper paperwork. And paperwork is essential. And that's how I do it. So I know there's problems out in Jamaica. But at the end of the day, you can find a way to get things done. As I said, I don't believe in middleman or a friend down the road, because at the end of the day, they set a trap for you, and then you'll end up with nothing. So it's best to do it through the channels. So the Rio is going to be a point of call when it's finished, and then hopefully I could do business with them, because I would, as I said, some people don't want to stay in a hotel. Some people want the raw experience.
When they say set a trap, this great guy named Andre Stevens with this show called Partner Joy, he said, what him say? Set a rat trap for them, for the 2-foot rat them. And him say, hey! set a rat trap. You need to go to Andre Stevens.
I'll give you a joke now. I'll give you a joke.
And say, set a rat trap for the 2-foot rat. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I can give you a joke now. In my house, it was. I went down there. It was locked up for a couple of months, and I opened the door, and I'm thinking, who's been living in my house? I see some big droppings. I'm thinking, what are these droppings all around the place? Then I realized it was the gecko lizards, them coming and take over, and said that's my house. So what I did, I get one of them sticky traps and I put it down in the corner. Next day, we see a nice lizard there. I said, the cat show.
Yeah.
My house now, get out.
Well, listen, Michael. Any last word? I'm going to wrap up because I've got a long day tomorrow with Joseph Patterson for the UIC. It's very important. This is something I just want to even say because it is so important that we speak to everybody and can get all the different information. Because like if you don't listen to what Delano Seabright says or Ed Bartlett, and you listen to other news media or bloggers or whatever like that, you'll hear something about Jamaica. And then you listen to Delano, you hear another bit about Jamaica. And you got to balance it off because it will give you impressions of why everything gone bad. But what I pick up was opportunities and how we can actually tap into things in Jamaica. Yet at the same time, I don't think he discounted the fact that there are issues, but at the same time, there are opportunities, and we've got to. And I think something which also my someone said, Dalrina had said as well, that there need to be limited access to properties. So therefore, and I believe the only way that can be done really when a market force is for Jamaicans, and this is something what I'm going to try to do, is for Jamaicans to recognize that they need to really, I need to, you need to, well, you're doing as much as possible to invest in Jamaica and own Jamaica as much as possible. And that's one of the positive things which I picked up tonight. And Lorna Savage is saying a wonderful discussion and eye-opener properties will definitely be going up. I'm sitting pretty low. And Richard Davis said, good show. We promoted his event, which is going to be you're going to say, Michael.
Yeah, well, all I can say to everyone, now North is there, there's an opportunity. More flights into Jamaica. And I was born in the UK. And when I went to Jamaica when I was 20, and I said to mum and dad, why are you leaving such a beautiful country? Why are you not going back? And that's when I decided to put my foot down, put my roots down, and I designed my dad's house way back 20 odd years ago. Things didn't work out. But I said to my mum and dad, listen now, that hasn't worked, but I'm going to have something in Jamaica. I'm going to have my house in Jamaica. So when I'm ready, when I get to an age where I'm fed up of all the cold, the weather, I'm going back, put my foot up and enjoy the countryside, the food and the sun and the sea.
Yeah.
In the store.
My good friend, my good friend David Chen have this place called Paradise Cove, and I'm always a show off. If I watch me, a show off, I have a big bowl of mangoes. Just sitting.
Yes, we see the mango then. Boy, we want some too though.
Yeah, I mean, just sit down and eat the mango on a big pot or something like that. And when you look, and he's always there eating his food and everything like that. And it's just natural. So I think the power is in our hands, Michael, to do it as much as possible. So listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight and breaking it down in regards to Norse Airline. And ladies and gentlemen, I think what we have picked up from Norse is that the 550 or 585 or so, it will add up when you go for the seat. And if you want even to go for a selected seat, it can go further. But as Delano was saying, people are traveling with just backpack.
Yes, true.
People are just traveling with backpack, and therefore, what you may have to do is organize. Actually, when I got married, actually, I got my suit in Jamaica. I didn't get it from here in the UK. I got married in Jamaica. You know what I mean? And therefore, and when you check it out, they say, "Hang on a second, that was so awesome there." And you're trying to get a massive, expensive suit in the UK. It's in Jamaica, man. And that is why there's a big wedding business down in Jamaica as well, whereby people go down to Jamaica, get married, and it's awesome. There's so many different opportunities as well, So listen. Any last word, Michael? We got to North.
Well, all I can say, North is an opportunity, and take and grab it, especially for the people going into Kingston, because at the end of the day, lower prices, more opportunities to travel.
Yes, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much. And of course, I think we touched base on the passport bit there. We discussed it a bit.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So let's hope that Delano will also whisper something in Mr. Winter's ear and just say, listen,
Yes.
Jamaicans
Yes, things will work
overseas
out.
are still waiting on their passport because people want to do business. People want to go into Airbnb. People want to get their TRN and they want their citizenship
Yeah.
like yourself there, you know? And,
Yeah. Mm.
so I think that is very important as well. So let's hope that the word has gone through as well. So, yeah, we leave it there for that. All right.
Yeah. Okay
Okay.
then. Thanks very much. Thank you.
All right, Michael. Thank you so much and have a good night. And ladies and gentlemen, there's Michael contact details there. If you want to build a house, I'm going to plug you. If you want to build a house in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to Michael Mason, MGM Architect at btinternet.com. Telephone number 07852 254 345. And he'll build a house for you in Jamaica. Well, you design. Tell us, what do you do?
Yeah, design it. Yes, yeah. I've done about 6 to 8 houses out in Jamaica so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. And these are for returning residents, isn't it, Michael?
Yes, yeah. Returning resident people here who want to go back and retire and enjoy their piece of on the rock. Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. And Jacqueline Affleck, she said, I'll check you out. And definitely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Boom.
Cheers.
All right, Michael. Take care of yourself. All right.
Okay then. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tonight. And it was a eye-opening discussion and sort of having different sort of discussions, I would say, on regular, so we can break down different things. And I just want to just reflect again upon Richard Davis. Richard Davis had put up something earlier regarding the Community Economic Tourism Expo 2023, Saturday the 17th of June 2023, time 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Venue Inner Space Touring House 5 Archway Home, Manchester. The Economic Tourism Expo is an initiative aimed at attracting young people of Caribbean heritage, as well as others from Greater Manchester and the north of England, to visit the Caribbean islands more frequently. This will be achieved by showcasing the tourist destinations of the Caribbean island and offering additional cost-effective group package tour options, free entry, free exhibition and trading stalls, facilities for networking and one-to-one discussion, family and friend environment, competition and prices. To secure a stall or general, please email ABS, What's Amazing, Hotmail or WhatsApp, or just contact me as well, which is my good friend, and we're part of Facilitators for Better Jamaica, who are an organized community in action against exorbitant plane fares to Jamaica. And it's on Facebook with near to 12,000 people as well, and as much as possible. So, Richard, thank you so much for that. And I'll definitely, who knows, maybe I'll have a booth there. Great discussion. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you for coming over from Instagram. And let's work on how to get a loan in Jamaica. You want to get a loan in Jamaica? Okay. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is, my good mate is Leighton Smith from Victoria Mutual Group. I'll get Victoria Mutual Group to come again and to discuss some things, because Victoria Mutual Group came on and talk about how you can secure your money and keep your money safe in Jamaica after the whole SSL crisis there. So I'll get Victoria Mutual, because they can organize loans from people in the diaspora as well in buying properties in Jamaica. And I hope I'm not speaking out of term, but I believe that's the case as well for them. Okay, so thank you so much for joining, those on TikTok, those on Facebook, and those on YouTube. Have a good night. Have a great Saturday evening, and finishing a bit early. And as I said, I'll be meeting with Mr. Joseph Patterson from the UIC tomorrow to have an interview with him and sit down as to his views for Republic. We're keeping the momentum and the discussion on Jamaica to be a republic. That is something which is live. And one of the things that I really and strongly believe is that it needs to be, a lot of discussion needs to be had. Young people need to be aware, people need to be aware more about this whole process. And it's very important. It's a one in a lifetime event. Okay? Thank you. Yes, I have some people who are listening. I want to hear about such. Definitely. Wonderful discussion. I'm getting hold on to my place a little longer, though I will move to Portland, but no, that's there. Okay? Peace out. God bless you. Bye-bye.